Hello, this is ANY, and welcome to the third episode of my still nameless podcast, but this is about to change today. But before we go into this, first of all, let's welcome today's guest, Corpulent Brony. Hello, dude. How are you doing?
Hello, every pony. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Can't complain myself either. First of all, I want to start with giving a little bit overview who you are, what you do, and how you found yourself in here. This is a private channel, goddammit.
Well, I'm a Brony analyst person. I've been doing videos for only about maybe 4 or 5 months, and I just sort of stumbled in here, and that's how I got here.
I have to ask, the name. How did you pick your name?
Well, I'm a little corpulent, so I went ahead and took that to the next level.
But I have to say what I have to give you credit for. That you have the kind of self-irony about it, a little bit tongue in the cheek, be like, hey, God damn it, I am a little bit corpulent. I make this my my trademark. This is actually an awesome move. It has basically the quality of that guy with the glasses.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The only problem
Yes,
the only problem
instead of just like letting it letting other people use it to define me, I just thought I'd take it and define myself with it, and instead of just calling myself, fat brony, I thought corpulent brony sounds a lot maybe a little bit more highbrow.
Yeah, and you take away pretty much the steam from everybody who is going to get to you. You are like, what the fuck? It's in the name. What did you expect?
Exactly. Truth in advertising.
The only problem is, what if you find the miracle diet?
If that ever happens, I'll have to think about maybe becoming the analyst formerly known as Corpulent Brony.
Also nice one. Also
Yes.
nice one. All the old guys joke, all the kids will not get. Yeah, as I just said to Corpulent just before the show, I'm very close to hitting the big 3 myself, so we are old over here.
I'm an old man, yeah.
Oh god, I still have my skull cup with me from my Gravity Falls review, first impressions I just did, and yeah. But yeah, what I personally think is also kind of funny about it, that your OC is rather slender himself. It's
Yes,
also like,
and
I mean, you use a lot of face cams, so it still works out. But when you only see the OC, like only the Dr. Wolf video, you are like, why?
yeah, when I first created it, I had it a little bit, a little bit more chubby, but I went to an artist. He ended up not really, the chubbiness didn't really carry through to the final product, but that's okay because it looks good, it looks relatable. But
Looking at it right now, that's why my view is a little bit off screen. Right, it is actually not a pony creator one, is it?
no, it
No,
isn't.
the angle is not the one, so...
Yeah, originally I used Pony Creator, to get the idea down, to get the colors right.
We all did.
Yeah, of course. It's very
I'm not
easy.
so different.
Yes. And then I've got this. It's actually my girlfriend. She's so nice. She made this out of felt. It's a real, it's obviously not the most expensive plushie you could get, but it's kind of cool.
And I mean, it is your own OC. When you go for one of the main 6 or even a popular background pony, of course you want. Then it has to be the high quality. It has to be completely perfect because there are so many out there. But this is the one with an absolutely personal note. So I can see this. I mean, there is. One girl in the US did a kind of what's it called when you make something nipping.
Yeah,
a knitted plushie of my OC, and of course it also looked a little bit off yet compared to show style or whatever, but it was like, oh my god, this is my OC.
Yeah, especially when other people take the time and the effort to put that together for you. It's really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I can totally see why. What else? Even if it's not high end, who cares? It's like bam. Oh
Yeah,
no,
it's
see.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. Also, since you are new in the you're rather new in the Bronyalsis community. You said earlier, like what was 3 months or something, but
Yeah.
At least as an active member, I'm not sure. Have you been around before as well, or?
Yeah, actually, I've been watching this pony show now for about 2 years, and it hasn't really been until about March or April that I really started, wanting to make videos, and I started to pursue that, and I've been in like the Rift for only maybe 2 months, 2.5 months. So yeah, I'm relatively new to being active in the community, but I've been a consumer of ponies and the pony related stuff you find on YouTube and all over the internet now for quite a while. So
I mean, your room decoration speaks more for you than mine. So
I'm sorry.
Your room decoration speaks.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, I am still more or less undercover brony, whatever. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
really closet because.
Yeah. Your face is on the.
I'm not really hiding it, but I'm kind of keeping it separate, like brony life and everything else.
Yeah, and that's really the way when I first became a brony, I was really I actually got into it because of my girlfriend. She wanted to see the new My Little Pony show. She grew up with it in the 80s. And she's like, "Oh, let's watch this new show. I heard, the Hub is doing a reboot." So we gave it a try, and at first I was like, it's kind of cool, it's kind of neat, whatever. Over time I began to say, oh, we should, why don't we just get together and watch that show again? It wasn't that bad. We got nothing else to do. And it sort of came to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, let's watch the show. Come on, why aren't we watching the pony show? What's going on? And I denied it to myself.
So does this mean that I am in the presence of an actual first hour brony? Like with the beginning of I consider the actual bronies the fans of the G4. So when you watched it from the very beginning, I mean, you were not into it right away, but you watched the very first episode when they aired, or?
Oh no, I started.
Okay.
It was towards the end of it was around Hurricane Fluttershy when that aired.
Okay,
So it was
okay.
season 2.
Okay.
But it was when I first started watching. I did sort of like it, but I didn't really think it was that awesome. It just built up over time, and especially when you go online and you discover all the wonderful things that all the fans have created, and you see just the breadth and the depth of it is just overwhelming. And it really almost makes you appreciate the show a lot more. And one of the things that did that for me was the analysis videos that people like, DigiBrony and and yourself and
Paleo,
others,
Golden Fox.
Yeah, all the others in the community were doing. And watching that type of thing made me think about the show more. And when you think about something more, you tend to begin to appreciate it more. So,
even so, there is this recent trend which has caused a discussion on itself. Like, are we starting to overanalyze, and are we starting to actually take the fun for ourselves and for other people out of the show by being too nitpicky and stuff like this? I believe what's his name, Bell, Jerry Bell or something. Yeah, he is a little bit his own entity. He is not even really analyzing. He's just making shorts in under 3 minutes or something in 3 minutes, where he is just highlighting some moments of an episode and makes a joke about it and moves on. And he also started recently to make a show about a glass of water, he calls it, and he talks about meta stuff, about critical stuff. And one of his topics was, are we nitpicking too much? I guess on Dr. Wolf's channel this was a topic as well, I guess. I believe in one of his recent moments with Dr. Wolf, he had a guest, and they were also talking about, is the analysis, what about it? Is it getting too nitpicky? I guess a problem is what I also left in the comments by Jerry in Jerry's video was like that he was focusing on like, oh, there is this negative Brony and this negative Tommy, and oh, everybody is like this. And I was, first of all, both of them used to be the total fanboys in season 3 to ridiculous extents. So I was like, okay, they have been negative through season 4, but back then they were fanboys where I was shaking my head like, guys, what are you taking? And then also they are the two of the biggest figures out there, but the majority of the community was super positive throughout season 4. I am not sure who he is picking up on. Okay, I am, but he's only looking at the two big ones. It's like, oh, they're also negative. No, dude, you have to brighten your horizon before making a video like this. Because, I personally enjoyed season 4 like hell. And
it was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like season 4, but when I do look at people like Digi and Tommy and other people's complaints or concerns, I really understand what they're saying. Part of that is the reason why I decided to sort of begin doing videos was because I thought I had a different take on things than a lot of the other analysts did. So, but, I think what happened with like Digi specifically maybe is he maybe became a little bit more critical, and his audience followers who are more into his deep analysis where he was taking ponies and really looking at them deeply and maybe exploring some headcanons and stuff like that. He became more of a, I didn't like this episode because this and this were wrong. And he never says I don't like this episode, but people hear criticism and they immediately jump to, he must hate it.
Yeah, but I believe there was I cannot put my finger on what it was, but I would say there have been some changes in the formula. Not only the meta plot thingy, this one as well, of course, but there have been production-wise changes between season 3 and season 4. In each season has a certain thing going on, certain criteria. I mean, they plan a season at once. And they produce it at once, and then they move. Then they go to the next season. So it is completely natural that there are certain production processes they keep throughout a season, and there have been changes from season 3 to season 4. I cannot put it exactly. It's what a lot of people pointed out, that the main 6 were all crammed into an episode unnecessarily, and
they did that a few times.
This. Actually, it never bothered me, but when they pointed it out, I was like, oh yeah, right, they are all there, and most of them don't even get to say a lot. Okay, point taken.
Yeah, some of the big things about season 4 I noticed was, I mean, the animation quality. What I've loved about the show is that it's gotten so much better over time, and now there's so much more shading and shadows and stuff that really kind of make things pop. And what I also noticed is that, this season there was a ton, Applejack went from being a joke background character to now a hugely main character. I think there were more shows featuring her than anyone else in season 4. I mean, she was huge in this season, so that's a big change for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess this formula changes where the small changes most people didn't even recognize were the stuff that just sit not well with some people, and that's for example Digi and Tommy, and that's why they couldn't enjoy it as much as they used to. In combination with being rather critical, what they always have been, this turned them into this those, especially Tommy. I never caught Tommy being so grumpy, because he always has some kind of talking very motivated about stuff. He's very passionate, while Digi became a little bit like, he said it himself, am I getting jaded? He turned a little bit like, this is and I guess
when he like turned away from criticism and went into his little diaries, like he did towards the end, those were awesome, because those were his thoughts and his way of taking the episode and applying it to real life.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, a lot of people didn't like the format, but I thought that was some of his best stuff right there.
Same here.
Yeah.
I really, because before this, he is a more casual guy, he is more laid back, and then having this very stiff and with edgy outlines and everything, this very clear and straightforward analysis videos. I mean, he basically was the one who made this kind of style popular, and but he also always said, like, he took this style from analyzing other shows and seeing what works. So he never adapted this style because it's his style. He adapted it because he saw this as how things work well. And after seeing that this new style for him, which was his style, came out of him, I really like those diary things. And it's like, all those idiots who were like, change it back. Like, oh my God, guys, change is not bad. Try to see the good in it, for crying out loud.
Yes.
And actually seeing him come back to his original style for the final episode was like, I like the diary so much more.
Yes.
I mean, we kind of plan to talk a little bit about Brunel's community. A few things I want to point out. I mean, you mentioned earlier that Looney Turtle had made a video about analysis.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe I saw it. Could you phrase it or remind me what he said?
Yeah, he maybe a month ago created a video about is the Bronalysis or the Brony analyst community, are they really analysts, or are they perhaps something else? And his hypothesis was most Bronalysts are really reviewers, because they review episodes, and especially the ones who take a lot of time to sort of recap the plots of the episodes and maybe just say, what they think about it a little bit and then end. And he's like, is that really analysis? Because a lot of, we've been getting, there's a lot of new analysts, especially recently, it seems. And a lot of them sort of follow that same formula, so there's not a whole lot of differentiation. And I think that's what Looney was getting to, is that are we maybe getting away from people like Ink Rose or even some of DigiBro's early stuff, where there's a lot of headcanon and a lot of ideas and a lot of maybe this is what's going on in the world, maybe there's other things that we're not thinking about.
Even so, I have to say, headcanons are for me also a different category than analysis.
I maybe headcanon isn't quite the right word. Because I heard someone differentiate it like there's theory, and you have a theory that's actually based on things in the show, whereas headcanon is just out of nowhere.
Yeah, but because that's the funny thing that you mentioned, Ink Rose. I mean, we call it the Bronalysis community, and I roll with it, or call it the Rift, or whatever. So I will not be like, you cannot be a member of it because you don't fulfill criteria X, Y. But but to be honest here, I never considered Ink an analyst. Never. Mm-hmm. She's a storyteller. She's a narrator, a great one at this. She has those. I mean, her stories are very loosely based on things you could see in the show, but it's also not deep analysis she put into it. No, she imagines and tells great stories. She's a storyteller. And the fact that people are like putting her, I mean, I'm glad that she's part of this community and we have this stupid title of Bronalysis community, but when people are talking about her as an analyst, I'm always rolling my eyes and be like, guys, she doesn't analyze any. I believe she did one video which was actually analysis, but at some point. But usually she tells stories and does fun stuff, but she is not an analyst. And and the thing with the reviewers also talking a lot about plot synopsis is like, it's literally a review. We are a look back on it, throwing in a
and like the people watching that are probably going to be people who've already seen the episode, so it's sort of a. But for me, it seems to me, I am an analyst in real life. Like I work as a reporting analyst, so every day I analyze data, so it's pretty boring. But applying that same sort of technique and that way of thinking to ponies is really fun because it's different. The numbers and stuff, but for me it's like reviewers are, like you said, you review the episode, you go back, you take another look at the episode, you you maybe give a little bit of what you think about it, and then you've got critiques where you really go into detail about what they did right, what they did wrong. This plot doesn't make sense. This is obviously a plot hole. Here's a character who's not acting according to whatever pre-established thing they might have in their head. And then there's analysis where you take components of the episode or maybe components of the whole series and dig into them. Analysis is taking things apart, looking at them, and trying to figure out what's really going on in a way that makes sense and fits in with the rest of the actual canon. So yeah, just telling stories isn't really analysis, like you say, but if you're telling stories based on the story, I think you can sort of get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, we use the terms very loosely. But what you just said, I would say in theory, it is possible to be also so you can analyze a lot of stuff. You can also analyze a single episode by its plot synopsis and stuff. If you don't spend the majority of the time on recapturing the plot. If you are just look at the structure and the writing in an analytical way, you could do episode analysis is in and of itself possible, but I'm not really sure if anybody really wants to see an actual little analysis of an episode.
Yeah, I think one of the greatest places you could do the plot thing is with Just for Sidekicks and the follow-on episode, and it's escaping me. Games Ponies Play, there you go. The way those two episodes were meshed, I love that, because I think that's the first time they've ever done that on the show, where they took place concurrently and separated. It was almost gave me a bit of a Quentin Tarantino vibe, the way they split out the time and you kind of combine them again in the end. You could really look at the plot that way and say, well, what's the plot going on in both of these episodes? How do things relate? They don't relate a whole lot, but I don't know.
Sadly, why you mentioned those two, sadly, I was intrigued by the idea, but I was disappointed as hell by the execution, but they actually didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, except at the beginning and the end, right?
Yeah, and there have been ideas that making it the other way around would actually, if they would have aired it in the opposite order, that it would actually have been more interesting, because then it would have been you first see Games Ponies Play, and you see the ponies leaving, and then you get the final shot seeing Spike and the animals on the train, and you would be like, what are they doing there? And
I got to say, when Games Ponies Play first aired, I had to pause it and be like, wait a second, is this the right episode? Am I watching, I think I just saw this episode a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but imagine it would have been the other way around, because we saw Just for Sidekicks first, we know everything. We did not know much about what happened in the Crystal Empire, but it was also not at stake, because we knew all the ponies were there, and when they re-entered the train, it was okay, whatever they did, they are finished with their business. But if it would have been the other way around, you would just have seen what the ponies do in Crystal Empire, then why is Spike there? Next week, the revelation. There would be something interesting.
Oh yeah.
Even this little change would have made the whole 2 parallel episode thingy so much more worthwhile. Shame. And what it reminded me personally of was works by Stephen Moffat. He originally did, back in the 90s, I guess, he did the series Coupling for the BBC. Great series. Everybody go watch it. It's amazing. And he does also do a lot of stuff with parallel views. He has one episode which retells the same 10 minutes, but from 3 different point of views, and every point of view revealed something else that was making your head scratch in an earlier version, and then you are like, oh, I see it now. And this get Stephen Moffat to write such episodes for MLP. God damn it. But yeah, currently he's doing Doctor Who, which is also awesome.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Yeah, a lot of reviewers. I often try to find a fitting description for Kim Possible, or I like Kim Possible a lot, because she does not waste a lot of time with plot synopsis, but she just picks single moments and throws in her 2 bits and a pop culture reference. This is not analysis either.
No, it's almost like entertainment,
Yeah.
or a review-tainment, or maybe a review, like taking little elements that she liked or didn't like about an episode and just sort of making jokes about them or having fun with them, and it's entertaining. I mean, her videos are super entertaining.
Yeah.
They're not very like, oh wow, you don't walk away and say, wow, I feel enlightened. I've learned something new today.
No,
usually,
it's really
but
just 3 minutes skit. I guess in that way, she is pretty much like Jerry, the review-tainment. So it's a good word.
Yeah.
Review-tainment.
Well, I should copyright it or something.
Quick! Maybe I'm quicker. I have the browser open. Review-tainment by A&Y. And then I see that somebody already has it, like Disney or so, and they sue me. Talking about
your video gets taken down.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, earlier I tried to upload my Let's Watch of Gravity Falls. Disney caught it before it was even uploaded. I will try a few things, so if I was successful, it will probably be up by now when this podcast airs, but probably...
Yeah, Disney is very protective.
Yes.
And Warner Brothers, too, I hear, so...
So no Let's Watch Batman for me.
No. Yeah, those Let's Watches they're almost on the edge, of being...
actual copyright issues. I mean, I guess it depends on... the focus has still to be the person watching it, because basically, by fair use, commentary is... or commentary and reviews and stuff like this would kind of... add something to the original product in a critical way or opinion way or something. They are protected, but of course, if you talk about a video and you play the entire video or episode or something on screen, it is an issue, and it is tricky. I will still try to get it online with, I don't know, maybe putting a blur effect on it again, or maybe just only playing the audio, something like this.
You could always change the color, and I like to apply some filters.
Yeah, but YouTube is good with this by now. I mean, the whole mirroring footage thing is kind of...
out the window.
Yeah, I actually have to wonder that it ever worked. I mean, it's such a simple trick.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. It's actually had a shower earlier, but it's really summer here today, and I try to keep my arms very close to my body so nobody sees. But my shirt must be rather... Yes. God damn it.
Does it get rather warm there?
It's rather warm here, yes. I have to say, summer in Berlin is actual summer. Where I lived earlier, there were no real seasons. It was like, what did we say? How do you know it's summer in Aachen? The rain becomes warmer. Because it was always like rainy and stuff, and never really hot, never really cold. And here I have actual seasons. Like when I moved here, it was actual winter with very cold weather and snow and stuff that's lied around for days and weeks. And now I have actual summer where I'm just like sweating as hell. And
see, I live in a place where it's always summer. I live in Florida.
Oh, okay. Wait. Florida is even the one that is so... I heard that it is this very, very tropical heat. That it's not only hot, it's also this is
humid.
Yeah.
Humid, yeah.
Humid, yeah.
Yes.
I actually lacked the vocable there.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still learning, and my English is still not perfect.
Well, it's very good.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. I used to be really bad in English. I had a D in school.
Well, it's much better than my German.
Probably. I have heard I met some Americans who had German in school, and it's like, well, when I was in the US, I even visited a German class, and yeah, let's not talk about it.
I just all I remember, I took like just a tiny smidgen, and all I remember was some song called "Mein Hut tried Drecken" or something, and that's it.
Okay, now
mein Hut hat drei Ecken.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hätte er nicht 3 Ecken, dann wäre es auch nicht mein Hut.
That's the song.
So, you start learning German by German kindergarten songs.
Which makes sense.
Kind of. I mean, the language, of course, is simpler than starting with, I don't know, some kind of German rap, like es ist Sommernetz 90, meine Freundin ist 96 in der Südsee allein, ja mein Budget war klein, na fein, herein, willkommen im Verein. Which would probably a little bit more tricky to learn, so.
Probably, just a little bit. I might be able to pick that up if you did it 1 or 2 more times.
Well, we could see that. What? I mean, I could make a recording of it and send it to you, and you can, after the show, you can watch it a few dozen times and tell me if you understood a word or something.
No. I think I heard Fraulein in there.
No.
Or maybe I didn't. Okay, well, who knows?
No, you didn't. Even so, funniest thing, Fräulein is a word that is barely at all used today anymore. It's one of the more famous German words outside of Germany, but it isn't used today. It's so outdated, the word. It's probably
Austin Powers.
Yeah, Austin Powers, and probably because where do the most Germans appear in American television? World War II movies. And back then, Fräulein was still an expression, so I guess this is also a reason for it.
That's true.
So, but by the way, you are in the Rift, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Because I also read something like applying for the Rift or something. I mean,
applying?
Yeah, I don't know. You messaged me something. In a general way, okay. I don't know where I got this from.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just had a brand new person come in the Rift. Apparently, it created quite a stir a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But yeah, your artist,
really...
your artist keyframe.
Yes, my title card artist. Yeah. This is like, I remember the good old days where you had to have at least 3 analysis-related videos on your channel to be to get into the Rift. Now look at her. She draws a bit of stuff. She has a channel, and she was in one collab with Silverquill. The standards of this community.
This is true.
Funny thing though, it's still. I mean, I'm not sure. I thought by now that it became kind of common knowledge that there is this actual Rift Cafe existing in form of a Skype group. Because just recently, some newcomer was like, "Hey, what can I do to get to people?" And I was like, "Well, when you have a few videos, why not network and get to the Rift?" And he was like, "Wow, I didn't know about this." So It still seems to be a little bit secret until some idiot blurted about it or on a podcast like me.
Oops.
Oops.
I think it's up on a public. It's up on the MLP analysis website. I don't think a lot of people go there besides maybe MLP analysis people, but that's where I found. Actually, it was someone who was already in the Rift who came to me and said, "You should really join this group of people," and I had no idea it really existed either at the time.
Yeah, I usually also just send people there, and I'm like, well, you want to? Yeah, go there.
Yeah.
Go to the Rift group. I'm a little bit like, I'm not a great mentor. I'm just sending everybody further down the line.
I don't know. Maybe I could go back a little to something we were talking about earlier, about like analysis, and you mentioned something about people who are really like, maybe nitpicking or analyzing too much. I'm pretty sure I've seen your comments on his videos, but what have you thought about Biter's Bits? I think you've been commenting on his, because I think what he's doing is he's taking it to the whole nother level.
Yes. Like going into every single joke and taking it serious and being like, oh, I don't get it. Why are they doing this?
Because I think a lot of what he's doing is a little tongue-in-cheek. I think he's trying to point out some of the over-analysis going on.
This is the thing most people don't get about Biter and why they are... two things you need to know about Biter. First of all, he is tongue in the cheek 90% of the time. He has a very straight way of doing it, and this is why most people just think he's a total asshole because they miss the tongue.
I missed the tongue for a long time too, until I was finally able to get the tongue from him.
Yeah.
And once I got the tongue, I realized that.
That sounds so wrong. You got the tongue from him.
Yes.
But okay. First of all, he is, and I mean, he is in his videos. He is going so overboard. But he's still playing it so straight. It's like, British people, you have this kind of humor which is so strange to pick up. Yes. Mm-hmm. First you need to know he is extremely tongue in the cheek. This video series, while he honestly dislikes the episode, I know this firsthand.
Yes.
I mean, I can basically also tell you where this entire series came from because I was there in the origins of this particular Biter's Bits series. But so how over the top he goes, and especially when you see his parody thingies where he has these stick figures running around on screen.
Yes.
At least at this point, most people should realize he is not serious about the whole stuff. He honestly...
A lot of people have taken it very seriously, though, and they're a little upset about it. They're like, how can someone be doing this? It's you always hear the refrain, it's the end of the analysis community.
Oh, got it.
It's the end. Yeah. I'm leaving the fandom. It's it. It's over.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is the one thing you need to know about him. And the second thing is he loves debating. And not debating in the sense of having a discussion of an exchange of mind, but a debating in this very classic British debate club way, which also is a reason why he comes off so mean, for example, in the podcast when he has somebody with a disagreeing opinion, because he is using technique, he is using this stale techniques of debate to debunk his opponent instead of having a interhuman exchange of ideas, which also makes him often enough look mean, even though no, he's just debating. For example, when you check out some other great British guys like Christopher Hitchens and his brother also Hitchens, two British guys, two extremely opposite guys, both brothers, and I saw a debate between those two once, and holy crap, they were the meanest assholes ever to each other. But only because they were debating. It's the British way of talking about stuff. They and it was amazing to watch, as long as you're not on the receiving end of stuff. But as one of them takes it and returns the favor, this is pretty much how people should react to Biter, but most of us are not debaters. We are just people who talk about and are not worried about the exact certain definition of a word and
or making all your citations.
Yeah, we just want to get our general point across, and yeah. But you wanted to say something, sorry.
Oh no, just about citations and how he's always looking for citations whenever I argue with him. I got to the point where I realized what was going on, and you know, but
yeah. Oh well. What else do we have on the agenda? We could go through more individuals. By the way, I am a little announcement here, making advertisement for myself on my own show on my channel, which is rather redundant, but nevertheless, one of my upcoming videos will be the top 5 yay and nay Bronyalists.
Oh wow!
Ooh, not saying too much about how I'm actually going to approach the topic, but yeah, I am going to talk a little bit about Bronyalists myself.
Oh, this is a good lead-in.
Yeah. So yeah, also I guess also a thing to see is the off-season trend, like people turning away from MLP for the off-season. A bit like, I mean, Digi made it pretty official, like making his final episode review of Twilight's Kingdom and being like, okay guys, from now on I will talk primarily about anime and nothing else, and maybe I will come back for season 5, I don't know yet. Which credits to him for his honesty, but if anybody checked his subscriber count after this statement,
yes.
I mean, there are there's this web tool called Social Blade, and I check in there every now and then, seeing how I'm doing myself, and also looking how other people are doing. And I was going to Digi a few weeks after that, so that basically a month or something has passed, and his subscriber count was all red for each day, and red means
Ouch.
minus. Yes, and I was like, holy crap, dude, what have you done? Which was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, I am with him on this. I want to point out, people who followed my channel will also notice that there is a certain outbranching happening.
Yes.
The thing is, what we have to face is that I don't think the Brony community in and of itself will ever completely die out. There's already too much going on. There are so many. After the show turned crap and ran for 2 more seasons to milk the cow dry and then have been cancelled in a few years, there will still be people writing fiction, still be artists drawing ponies. This will not die.
BronyCon's still probably going to be around even.
Yeah.
But
I guess so. So I don't see the community in and of itself die out, but it will tone down, and stuff like analysis videos will not be something you can center entire channels around.
Yes.
And so when I mean, for example, my own channel, I now in the off season, and especially because other shows started airing, I talk about Legend of Korra, I talk about Gravity Falls, simply because those are other shows I really like to watch, and I want to talk about them. Yeah. On the other hand, what I don't want to do is be like, abandon the ship, everybody, and not do any MLP stuff anymore. My big scripted videos I'm working on are all MLP related. So what I'm trying to say is outbranch, provide other content for people to pick up on, but don't make this hard cut, because make it a smooth transition. Don't be like, okay guys, this was season 3, fuck you all till next season, now watch anime. You see, people don't take this lightly. It's like a slap in the face. No, provide some more other content as well, additionally. But don't be like, hey, you came and subscribed for ponies? Well, suck it.
It's like a bait and switch. Yeah, it's like a bait and switch thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I hung on to Digi for a while, but I was one of those people who put him in the red. Unfortunately, I didn't really want to or anything. It just the content wasn't anything I was interested in personally. You know, I don't know. I was really liking him for his pony analysis, his pony reviews, and then when it became other stuff that I didn't really even know about, I had too much going on really to follow him doing that other stuff and also try to follow everyone else who's still doing the stuff that I'm currently interested in. Not that that's going to change at some point, like you said. If I ever want to continue to do this after the pony show's over, you know, I'll need to find something else. But I don't think, you know, right now I'm doing it really just because I like the show and I feel like I've got stuff to say about it. And, you know, I've also got like Game of Thrones though. I've thought about doing. The issue with that is that I've read the books and I know where everything's going, and any of my reviews would be full of spoilers. So it's like there's a lot of people who might not want to watch that.
Actually, what I have to say to you there. Back in my old place, I lived with a friend who also was familiar with the books, read the books long before the series came along. And so basically when the series started, he introduced me to it and we watched it together. Oh, and what he did, what I actually... And you know me, I hate spoilers. I'm like totally like, yes. Damn you, spoilers! I totally don't like spoilers, and since he was my flatmate, he knew I don't like spoilers. he was live there when we watched a new episode of Doctor Who, and we were sitting there relaxed, and then suddenly the credits start, and they usually give a little bit of a tease for the next episode, and from totally relaxedness to I was like spoilers, jumping up from my chair, running to the PC and hammering the space so the video pauses before anything can be revealed. So he knew me. But what he did was we watched a new episode, and after the episode he was like, well, this and this was different than in the book. So what he did was not spoiling anything about stuff to happen, but what he did was pointing out the differences between how it is represented in the series in comparison to the book. So basically, he provided a service. Like for me, who hasn't read the books, he was like, hey, you see, this is different than the source material. So this might be an angle where you actually could do videos with. By not talking about an episode, by reviewing the episode, but by pointing out this and this has been different in the show.
Yeah, you could do that, but a lot of that stuff is going to be like, actually, strangely enough, there's a character, I believe his name is Biter, but not the same type of Biter. Okay, there's a character in Game of Thrones called Biter, and he was such a much larger character in the books. Not that he was a main character or anything, but you know, in the show, his contribution got trimmed down to a really just a single scene where he gets killed. And so it was sort of like, you know, I could be like, oh wow, in the books, you know, he was such a larger part of the narrative leading up to this point in the show, but it's like the people watching the show are like, okay, I just saw this guy get killed. He's never going to have a future in the show. Obviously, he's dead.
Yeah, but I see that, but
on the other hand, it might get very pedantic, you know.
Yeah, but as I don't know, because as you just described it, I was like, this is certainly a niche for people who watch the series but who are curious about how it is in the original material.
Yeah.
This would be the niche you would be going for, but I could imagine that because this show is so extremely mainstream popular, that this niche might even be bigger than the MLP niche. Even though the idea might have been already covered by somebody, I don't know. But yeah, for me it was like, okay, interesting. There's another character that totally got written out of the show. This is a fact that I think is interesting. For example, I'm not sure if I want to talk about it because it's very recent and kind of spoilery. There is this one character in the last season who was supposed to be a very, very awesome, badass fighter. And in the books, this is kind of explained. They go into the fact what a badass... Oh. You know who I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the big one?
I guess. If we keep it so vague, it will be kind of tricky. I'm talking about the one person who becomes the champion for another person in the trial by fight.
Yeah, I know which two characters you're talking about. I'm just not sure if you're talking about the larger one or the smaller one.
The smaller one.
Oh, the smaller one. Okay.
The larger one has been built up as an Uber fighter the entire time. But the smaller one did not really come across as such an amazing fighter in the show itself. But somebody who was familiar with the books pointed out to me, he actually, in the books it explains that he is this kind of super badass fighter. And this is something. When I heard this, I was like, "Whoa, okay, that's an interesting information." Now I get certain things that were implied in the show, but never addressed explicitly enough.
He was like a typical fighter and lover. I don't know if we should get any.
Yeah,
but he was like almost like a Renaissance man. A guy who.
Yeah, he didn't come across as a legendary fighter known throughout the world, but in the books apparently he was described as such.
Sort of. I mean, the guy he was fighting was pretty big too.
Yes. This true.
Especially with his name, that's what I was getting at as far as big goes. Yes, but I don't remember him being built up at all in previous seasons. Even I mean, he was there in the beginning.
He was always mentioned like this force, this entity.
But we never really saw him, did we? Or maybe we did. I'd have to go back to the show.
I believe it was his first appearance. Or something else like what has also
because he's another major character's brother, or is he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, yes, he is.
So, but this kind of going at points and being like, hey, this, what has happened here, has been completely different in the books. I think it might be interesting for people. But just as an idea.
Who knows? Yeah. Although then again, the interesting thing about that show, Game of Thrones, is that from my understanding, is George R.R. Martin is closely involved with all the scripts that are being written. So it's almost like he's the one making these decisions. My understanding is he's the one making the decisions on what is important to show in the show versus what maybe doesn't need to be explored. So it's almost like he's making a new canon as he goes along. And that's probably especially going to be important because the show production is so much faster than his book production. Because he's been writing these books, I think, since the 90s. I'd have to go back. These books are old, some of them, but he's still writing them. And there are big pauses of many years between releases of the books.
Okay. Yeah. I at one point I also want to actually get into the original books, but... Yeah,
they're wonderful.
I have a lot of stuff on my plate, so hopefully one day. Something I just remembered, what I wanted to do in the very beginning of this episode. We still haven't revealed the name of the show. Okay, so everybody, last time I asked you to vote which should be the name of this very podcast you are watching, and the votes came in. So. We are going to reveal only on the third place with only 6 votes up is the A&Y The Dick Show. So I have to admit, on a certain level, I am kind of revealed that not the majority of people voted for it because I don't know. I probably would not necessarily wanted to have this official name of the show. So I'm kind of thankful this one did not win by a landslide. It's actually with 6 votes up. It is place number 3, but with quite a gap to place number 2. Anything with A&Y or A&Y thing with any Y. Anything with 17 votes up. And the winner of what this show is from now on called, which is the official name for this very podcast you're watching, with 19 votes up, and I totally did not suggest all of you to vote for it last video, is, drumroll, A&Y time. And as it has been suggested by the far more creative minds than myself, Give and Take, And he also delivered it with a nice slogan like, "Welcome to ANY Podcast, AN Time, AN Place." Okay, this really sounds weird when you say it out loud. But it looks good in written form. Anyways, ANY Time. You just watched the 3rd episode of it. And also a premiere at this point. Corpulent, I have to congratulate you. You just are the first guest ever on this show being there to witness the finishing and saying goodbye to people.
Well, thank you very much.
It's
such an honor. I just don't know what to say. I like to thank, first of all, I like to thank the Academy. I'd also like to thank, my parents. They were always there for me, and I like to thank all the people who worked on it. Wow, it's just such an honor.
Dude, if the connection would have broken up right now, why are you doing this? I would have just flipped the table and, well, go home. But okay, but because so far, okay, this is only the 3rd episode, but in the last 2 episodes, my guest bugged out when I was about to close things up. So I'm really glad you're still with me. Thank you. I thank you, Corpulent.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
But yeah, to wrap things up, it was a nice show. It was really cool having you here.
Thanks.
And any famous last words?
Not really. I've got a channel on YouTube, like I've mentioned. If you if anyone wants to check it out, I'm sure maybe ANY will put a link in somewhere.
Exactly, link in the description, and his face is actually clickable.
Yes, and I just did Dr. Wolf. I just did a video for Dr. Wolf's channel when he's on vacation, so people want to check that out, they can.
Also, all the links and stuff. You sent me links afterwards, and I put all the links down there. Okay. So, in this sense, this is ANY saying, see you soon.